Hi everyone, welcome to Pokemon Spectrum vlog for session 6. We just wrapped up the session and now we're just going to share some thoughts about it.
All right, where should we start?
Nothing down.
Start at the beginning.
Very good place to start.
So the noir scene with Madison, or not the scene, but the event, I think is important to talk about a little bit. Just to talk through what it might mean.
Yeah, so I intended for Madison to stick around for a while. I intended her for to be a major NPC. But due to some things that happened in the previous session, it didn't make sense for the lieutenant to just ignore that. And I think behind the scenes, since he was given a phone number that ended up leading to basically like a non-phone number, non-true phone number, that got him to do a little bit more digging.
I thought it might have been some random other person's phone number.
Well, even if it was some random other person's phone number, it's not going to be Camille, whatever you gave him. So he'll know that you gave him something false. And so he wasn't just going to ignore that. Why would he ignore that? Yeah. So the only other name that he would have, I think he was trying to look up Camille. Maybe that didn't turn up to something. So since Camille didn't turn up something, he tried Madison. That eventually led him to her a couple weeks later. So it didn't happen overnight. It took him some time to catch her. Because Madison's not very easily caught, because she's good at what she does. But that being said, it eventually led up to her. And she ended up paying the price for it, unfortunately.
Like at the beginning of the scene, I thought it was going to be because of the hacking. And I was like, oh, dear God. I told her that this wouldn't happen, and I was worried for Chase's sake. And then I was like, oh, thank God it was Noir. Thank God Noir was getting the heat.
The hacking, she was very good about hiding her tracks, like covering her tracks for the hacking. So she didn't get caught for the hacking.
This one, someone gives her name.
This one, somebody actually blurted out her name by accident, but it still happened.
To be fair, Noir woke up from a horrible experience, as we all did. She was flustered. She was challenged by the investigator.
Oh, I totally get it.
Yeah, it would have happened.
Totally get why she did it, and totally understand that. I think many of us would probably have almost done the same thing. So, but it happened, so I had to react to it. So
no, I'm much more surprised that Noir covered for her the way she tried to, or whatever this episode, than how she gave her up, in the last. Considering, well, I didn't think that she was just that sympathetic to someone, Second, and that's not to say anything bad, I just didn't realize she was that sympathetic, But especially when you consider her brother's relying on her and the whole, if I'm put under the spotlight kind of thing, the psychic stuff might come out, and then that's even worse. I'm just surprised she went that far.
Go ahead.
No, that was it.
It was just super risky,
I was rooting for Molly or Noir to be able to convince the lieutenant of something. I was hoping that they might have been able to done something, and I know that Noir did attempt to, but the problem is attempts to negotiate with the lieutenant would have been easier received from Molly than it would have from Noir, because Noir has actually lied to Lieutenant several times. If Molly had been the one to try to convince Lieutenant, he probably would have been easier to convince.
He will remember that.
So that's the thing. It's all about it's the game of what kind of rapport can you establish, and right now it looks like there's a strained relationship between Kyle and Noir at the moment. There's definitely a strained relationship between Madison and Noir right now. Madison is not happy with Noir, despite Noir was trying to help Madison, but I think again, Madison and Noir didn't know this, so this is not Ella's or Noir's fault. But Madison has very specific fear of psychics herself. So the fact that Noir was trying to communicate her with psychics actually hurt her. That if she did not try to communicate her with her telepathically, Madison would have been a lot more responsive. But the fact that she led with that, that hurt her argument in the end, and that's why Madison was like, "No, get out of my head, get out of my head."
But I was surprised.
It was kind of hurt Nor just as much because like the mother used to think of like stuff like she used to occasionally pick up on thoughts of her mother, like going like thinking that. So it's like, wow.
Not everybody's comfortable with being spoken to in their head, even if there's nothing malignant against it or belligerent against it. It's still weird for a lot of people, including Madison.
Mm-hmm. But I guess I just kind of assumed this because Madison obviously helped forge like documents or identification or whatnot. Did she not know that Noir was psychic?
She
was that not part of what she dealt with in helping her?
Well, here's a question. Did Noir... I feel like Noir didn't give very many details about how powerful of a psychic she is. And so...
Probably not.
She probably... I'm guessing that the way she explained her capabilities was similar to how she explained Cassie her capabilities. Because to Cassie, all she told her was, "Oh yeah, I can move things with my mind." And I think that's all that... I would assume if that's what she told her roommate, then she probably didn't tell Madison any more than that either. And so I was basing the first interaction between Cassie and Noir as how she probably first was talking to Madison. And so I think the fact that she gave her the pin, I think if Madison knew that she was giving Noir an incorrect pin color, that she probably would not have done it because she didn't want to get into more trouble by giving her something that it isn't actually her. So the fact that she started talking to her in her mind when she thought all she could do was move things in her mind made her feel like she was being lied to and she was being betrayed. And I think that's where the freak came out. Like she was like upset that she basically did lie to her about that.
Yeah.
So the forgery then wasn't about changing things, making them false. Like knowing that she was higher on the psychic, chart or whatever, and then making it lower, but just that she wasn't being registered in the proper place along the proper lines, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think Kyle necessarily knows that Noir is telepathic. I don't think he knows that either. And I think Madison only just found out that she can do more than what her yellow pin says she can do.
Yeah.
And that didn't help matters either.
Jeez.
Yeah. Nor mainly went out so far from Madison because she's feeling so guilty about the dead person.
I'm sure this is going to affect her for a while. I'm sure that's both of you, both Madison and Noir for a while. And
she has your bank account information.
She does.
Might be time to call the bank.
Yeah, Molly was impressed by the fact that Noir would go so far to protect someone like Madison, but at the same time she was like there's helping people and then there's just being stupid. Molly.
So when Bullet flew into the fire.
Yeah.
The smart one.
The smart one.
Yep. She respects her efforts, but at the same time she's like no, you have more to worry about now than this person who did forgeries and who did some hacking and stuff. It's like this is going above and beyond your duty to this person.
So you're saying, Molly, if you were in Noir's position, you would not have tried to help Madison as much as she tried to help her.
Yeah, because in this case, Molly is very she's concerned for her own safety as well. Certainly she's concerned for Madison, but she in the end, what matters most is that she cannot help other people if she herself is in danger too. And I think I mentioned it before in the Discord chat that when you watch the second episode, you'll notice that the second session rather, you'll see that Molly's first reaction upon waking up in the fire it wasn't to go search for other people, it was to find the exit. And the way Molly's mind works is that as long as I have a way out first, then I can help other people. And in that case, Molly wouldn't have been able to help Madison without possibly putting herself in danger too.
Right. Makes sense. Yeah.
So she respects Noir for what she did, but she doesn't quite understand it, and she wants her to stop with that.
So Chase is somewhere strangely in the middle. There's definitely a polarity between what you just said about Molly and what is going on with Chase that puts you a little bit at odds when it comes to survival instinct. For him, it's more like the survival of others, whereas it's so that, and if he succeeds, then his reward is that he succeeded. He doesn't think beyond I could die doing this, and so it makes it curious because then it connects with Noir. And so the second thought I have here is that, from the Remy perspective, Noir's actions here, how she approached this scenario, is that it feeds into exactly why Remy is worried about her, right? It's the idea that when she gets emotionally confronted, she makes very impulsive decisions that puts herself and others at risk. And so whether you intended it or not, Ella, you're sort of painting a picture of you're characterizing Noir in a certain way that actually tells a very good story, because as much as she wants to be in control of things, especially as a psychic, she's really not in control of anything. And I would love for Chase to eventually put those pieces together. I think it'd be a meaningful development there. So, I mean, I agree with Molly. There's that fine line between bravery and stupidity, right? Like, so it's indistinguishable sometimes. And so I feel like it looks like Noir and Chase are more similar than they thought, in that regard. So. She just thinks she's in control, and that's the difference. Yeah, it's cool. And for the record, Chase, when he finds out about this, there's going to be scenes. Like Chase won't lose Madison at this point. That's
just too valuable.
It's not going to happen. Like, he's made that decision, and that's not how it works for him. Like, when he needs something uncovered and he doesn't have his oracle, we're going to have some problems.
And somebody else yet to meet her still.
Is it because of what she can do, or because he made a promise to her?
He because of what she can do first, and because he made a promise to her second.
That's an honest. I think it's ironic. Of all of the people in the group, I think it's really, given this history, it's ironic that I think the person that Kyle kind of trusts the most right now is Chase. He not only because Chase was very upfront with him in the second session, but also because Chase was the one who specifically followed Kyle into the police station when everybody was asleep. And
everyone else snuck by.
Everybody else, yeah. So he followed him. He followed Lieutenant in to back him up, and then Chase was the one who saw through the commissioner's guise, and Lieutenant noticed that Lieutenant, like I said, he's good about what he does, but this even fooled him, and he noticed that Chase was the one who was able to see her for who she really was, and I'm sure that got his attention too. So I think it's very interesting that Chase is the one that he trusts the most right now out of the 5 people.
Yeah, I think the Ho-Oh thing, the gift of the Pantheon, that's going to be...
Oh, yeah.
It's like information we should know.
Why is Hart giving us the ability to resurrect someone from the dead?
Yeah,
why would he do that?
It's good because, hey, we're in Ho-Oh's good graces. But then, it's like, maybe we should plan on someone dying.
You can save one of these two people. Choose now.
Mass Effect
Yeah, the timer goes down.
Is making no choice an option? Does it save both?
Just the ellipses.
Yeah, no, that scene interesting. Not only from we have this shared pool ability thing. I think I think that scene might have meant something different to all of us from a development perspective. So it'd be fun. It's going to be fun to see how that develops.
Yeah. So I think I feel like you guys are starting to get how the doors work. They are. You can kind of think of them as, I guess, side quests, I suppose. There are each things that need to be addressed, and each time you address something good happens. So, of course, the question is, what happens when you address all of them?
We become demigods. Let's make this happen.
But that's what I'm not sure about. Just because we didn't finish anything with the whole psychic bit. We learned like maybe 2 bits of information. Now we're just kind of waiting for more developments on that front.
Well,
that's true.
We likely neutralized the main psychic drive, though, of that group of people that could have made things go really south for the city.
That is also true. Yes, that is
That was
also
the
very
side
true.
quest that leads to the main quest.
Right.
What, that ditto person?
Side quest that leads to the main quest. I think. Go ahead.
No, just Riz, the ditto person. I think that was what neutralized the rush of those psychics like banding together and like that resistance happening.
Oh, I was just much more thinking of that as a pawn.
I think that's all tied together. I think them losing that ditto person was probably a big
definitely a blow.
Yeah.
But I just wouldn't think that was like the head of the snake or anything.
Oh, I don't think that's the head of the snake either. I think we got a name though. Yeah. That's it.
Well, at least we have someone on the inside of Prism now, so if anything else happens there.
Hopefully the plan now is after the contest is over, after this next arc is over, I think I've dropped a lot of hooks. There's like multiple hooks here that you guys can grab into. And I think at that point it's become more open world for you guys, and you can pick and choose what door you want to address next. Hopefully you've started seeing some interesting things going on behind the scenes over the last several sessions, not just today, that you might want to try to start looking into.
Yeah, the Pokemon disappearing.
Yeah, Cassie's going to look into that.
Because I thought I knew what Tiffany's wall symbol meant, but now with the information we got this session, maybe not.
Oh yes, the Tiffany's. What about Tiffany's door? Which of Tiffany's?
The
doors?
wall one.
The wall one. Yeah, let's talk about that wall.
Yeah.
The wall was brought up with. Oh, was it at Tiffany's scene that the wall was brought up?
Yeah.
Yes, Hawk. It was a lot darker than I expected it to be.
Me too, actually.
It's like, so what needs to be addressed then? Like,
Well, clearly we have to take over Johto again.
Yes.
All the Pokemon in Johto.
No, we
Take
like
it back.
friends. We'll send him as our ambassador. He'll hug everyone. It'll be smoothed over in no time.
I don't know.
We just
Send Gizgaz, I'm sure. Come on, guys.
Yeah, we're fine.
It lines
aren't
up
that bad.
suspiciously well with Tiffany and her brothers as children leaving to fight beyond the walls and stuff. So I'm fairly certain that's how Chase would connect the pieces as soon as he has a chance. Because it was talked about as children, your brother went. You're annoyed by him. He came back.
Oh, right.
And then, so he went beyond the walls, and that would have happened when you were children, and that lines up to the deck. So the thing with Chase is that if the number's involved, that's how the way I'm playing. He's not intuitive like, Jenny, right? But if there's numbers involved, the way I play Chase is that he'll start. I'm looking as a player. I'm looking for patterns, even if they don't matter. And so if I see a number, that's when I start to put pieces together verbally. But until then, I sort of just have notes in front of me and wait till someone says something that triggers it.
I think that exploring beyond the wall, if you do end up deciding to go into Johto, I think that's going to be really interesting because of the fact that you are not only playing a human, you're also playing a Pokemon. And I think it's going to be interesting to see that role shift.
That would be a huge decision, though, to actually go explore Johto.
If you decide to do that.
Because I assume there's not a human embassy there.
No, probably not.
Darn.
Super uncomfortable for Remy in so many ways.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, from an RP perspective, it would be uncomfortable for me.
Okay, sorry. I just thought from Remy's perspective.
From both. That's what I'm saying. From multiple. Yeah.
I think he'd feel at home there.
That's the boss?
That's the problem. That's the.
I've always said Noir was my human, but.
No, because the idea that Remy has already dropped the thoughts of what his thoughts are with humans and how they control the Pokemon and whatnot. And now here we have an example of it going right to the extreme of that, and then he gets to visualize, well, hold on a second, right? Like it'll be one of those big smacks in the face of like, well, maybe that's not okay either, but is it sort of deserved, right? At least for that city, let them have what they have, right? Like don't bother them, they won't bother you. And how is that different, right, than the way people treat Pokemon? And then just being in the wilds from a Remy perspective, he wouldn't want to go beyond the wall. There's a reason why he's perfectly happy being behind the wall, be in the city.
I was going to say, if Remy ends up not having a good time during this Pokemon contest, then, if you go to Johto, you could put a costume on Noir and put her in the next human contest.
Yes, Noir.
Oh my gosh.
Although, how quickly did he buckle to peer pressure? That was fun.
I enjoyed that peer pressure, yes.
They all did a very good job.
I didn't know how that scene would play out, but yeah. Because deep down, like, he wants to show off, but he doesn't want to show that he's showing off. So it's one of those. I don't know how the contest is going to go. Again, it's another scene for me that's very conflicting, both as Remy and as a player. I'm like, he wants to, but he doesn't. Like, it goes against everything.
Just be pretty.
But, yeah, the Pokemon helped convince him. Because
I think that was
a Pokemon decision. Because that's.
I think that was a good scene that sort of gives a good example of the group all together helping through roleplay to get a specific outcome for the sake of the narrative, even though in character it makes sense for Remy to resist. The fact that everybody, from a game mechanics point of view, are like, okay, it's not going to be any fun if Shay is just going to sit this one out. If Shay's just not going to
I was like,
for the next
let's
session.
roll my Guile verse, whatever stat you think would be appropriate.
Right.
I was ready to roll for it.
It's cool just to say that, my character would do this. I know it would be for my benefit to participate, but my character would resist. So I appreciate everybody, including Shay, working together to make a scene that was realistic and believable, to allow for all the characters to remain in character, but still end up with the desired result that does not let Shay be, SOL for the next session.
It was also a cute scene.
Yes,
I like picturing everyone just with their phones.
It was very cute and cool. You guys were very tough on him. It was smart of you to do that.
Thank you.
It's a very beautiful scene.
I had this backup plan. Like in my head, I was like, I'm not going to accept this. I know I'm not, but I'm like, I need a backup plan. And so, now that the scene is over, it would have been that the longer Noir would have talked about it, the closer he would have gotten back to the phone. Like he'd sort of act like that the cat thing where it's like, I'm not really in the room or I'm near you or I'm against you, but I'm trying to get your attention to suggest that. Yeah. And then he'd kind of he'd eventually, she'd telepathically be able to pick up on it. So, but I love the way that you guys definitely
took that was very well done. Anything else?
I think one thing that's on my mind right now is when exactly Cassie is planning to bring up to Molly that
the poster.
Yeah.
It's like, so then she asks if she regrets it. Molly's like, yes, every day. I wouldn't have run away if I. And it's like, like admitted, gone like, oh no, because I've learned and grown so much from that experience. Like, well, I guess you have to thank for that, but.
Jeez. Yeah, it's a big bomb.
So instead, let's have a subject change.
Yes. So that's still, that's still hanging a bit.
Yeah, still hanging, but the group's definitely getting closer. It could come out at some point if it feels, appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if
Well, Team
not,
Rocket's got to come back.
Yeah.
what do they have to do with it?
Well, they're coming back. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Cassie doesn't know. Cassie doesn't know that those two found her.
Yeah, no, they were all unconscious.
Yeah, she doesn't know.
Oh, yeah,
so-
all of them were.
By the way, I wonder how Noir and Cassie reacted to their door being smashed in.
Oh,
Like, eh.
Well, Cassie chalked it up to just all the attempts to like wake them up or something.
Mm-hmm.
Weirder stuff has happened in the last few days.
Yes, exactly. It's like, yeah, taken by Cresselia, door's broken. You know. One of them is
Fix it
much
later.
less significant. Yeah. If nothing else, I know that Cassie at least would be very interested in that serum that was mentioned at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
It'll be the first time that Chase connects that there's something darker going on at wherever these came from. I mean, especially if Cassie picks up on this and aligns it with a certain person labs, then might give Chase something to look into, at least something that hovers in the back of his mind, right? Another
I mean, like the
symbol cut to
serums
door.
themselves aren't necessarily bad, maybe unethical, and especially like against the rules in a contest setting, I would imagine. But
Yeah, but if-
themselves,
Actually, what is the ruling on that, Hark? As he did say he was affiliated with it.
I was just assuming it was like steroids.
That's what I came away with, but I might be wrong.
It's pretty much the equivalent of steroids. Now, the interesting thing is poffins are fine. You know, poffins are okay. 'Cause
Yeah,
I think poffins
Poffins
are
only go up to a point. You can't
Right.
do more with it after.
It's I would say that would fall under the category of for performance enhancement drugs. Performance enhancement drugs, yes. So
But the thing is, like, the judges would know instantly. Like, is that Vulpix breathing dragon fire? Like, they
What
normally
TM
can't
did
do
she
that.
get?
Like, that's a weird egg move.
Molly was too
But it
focused on the
could be.
food,
Yeah, Molly and Bullet just had the food. They were good.
packing it in, stuffing it in her bag for later.
Yeah. That was
so
fun.
yes, Miss Dragonair was fun to create.
Oh, love
I
her.
love
Even if Tiffany
her.
loses this, she wants to make a new best friend.
And I was
Yes.
I was trying so hard to think, oh, what could the pun of this name be? Because as soon as you specified that it was O'Nair from O'Dare, I'm like, oh no, it's got to mean something now.
Oh,
Yeah.
geez.
I couldn't put it together myself.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was a fun
So
reveal.
when you got to Dragonair, you're like, oh, okay.
I'm like, oh, okay, yes. Yeah.
Yes, and I figured you guys would expect an actual Dragonair as her
That's funny.
Pokemon.
I did.
But then I was looking through the names. I was like, Vespa Queen. I said, oh god, that has to
Yes.
be. That's it's got to be her Pokemon.
Yeah.
And then I saw the image. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we had Miss Iridessa show up in this session a few times, more than once.
Yeah, 3 times.
So
Very
Chase scene,
curious.
wedding scene, and the contest.
she was very curious.
Wait a minute. The
Yes.
wedding didn't happen at the same time as Chase going to the diner, did it?
No, I
No.
think they're different days.
2 different days. 2 different
Alright.
days. Yes.
Well,
the
that's
diner
a
thing was
relief.
earlier.
Got it. Oh, that's right. In the week there was a wedding. Yeah. Interesting. Well,
Well, she's going to set the deal.
if she's in
Oh,
the
the deal with the
scene,
serums?
be
The serum
curious
deal.
if
We're
she's
curious
gonna.
to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see.
I want to
She
know if it
doesn't
actually
seem like
disqualifies the Pokemon.
Yeah, she doesn't seem like a bad trainer yet, though, in the sense that I was admittedly expecting her to, like, smack Gizgaz. Yeah? It seemed
No,
like,
she didn't.
but instead she just set her hand on, and I'm like, oh, okay, nice trainer, good. Like,
Aw.
Public.
Well, also, a lot of eyes on her.
yeah, so who knows?
If the judges themselves are Pokemon and you go hitting a Pokemon,
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not exactly uncommon. I mean, it's more specifically, of course, in the battle circuit,
Mhm.
but
yeah.
I'm sure there are groups against that, but it's not like illegal necessarily.
Jeez. Be curious.
Okay.